all of my dating stories are during quarantine because that's when I started dating. So, yeah.
That is the best time to start dating.
I know, but, like, kind of, like, yes and no, because, like, we were supposed to be in our homes, and I was just out, like, frolicking in the dating world.
I'm not just a pretty girl, I'm more than just a picture. I'm a daughter and a sister. Sometimes it's hard for me to show that I'm more than just a rumor or a song on your computer. There's more to me than people know.
Alright, hey guys, it's me, Thomasina, and this is Jay.
Hi y'all, it's Jay.
Alright.
What's going on?
We are back again with a part 2 to our dating in the city series, I guess. We weren't intentionally gonna make this a series, but we just talked so much. The videos are so long. We decided to break it up. So our first video was about using dating apps in the city. If you haven't watched it, go check it out because what are you doing with your life? It was super good and super informative. Today, we're just gonna be talking about dating in general in the city, like our experiences and how we feel about it.
Let's do it.
I'm already stressed.
Oh my god. I have a question.
Sure.
So wait, so this is like sidetracking. How many guys be sliding to your DMs?
How many guys slide into my
Yes,
DMs?
like on the daily.
Not many, which is surprising to a lot of people. But I've been told that I'm very intimidating, like from men. And so I think maybe that's the reason why, but I don't actually get a lot of DMs. But I did get 2 DMs yesterday. And one guy was just like, oh my god, I would do anything for you. You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen. And I was like, anything? And he was like, anything.
Give me your stimulus check.
And I didn't respond.
Oh, so rude.
And then this guy today said, would I be able to take you out on a date? And then this other guy said, you are such an amazing person. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Mind you, this is a complete stranger, so I thought it was spam because I was like, what the freak? But I was like, oh, thanks.
Do we know each other?
Right? And he was like, I would love to make... I was like, oh, you made my night. He was like, I would love to make your night every night because you are the most beautiful there is.
Who is he? Is he cute?
I don't know. His profile is private, and I was not going to
cut it out.
But he had like hella followers, and Diddy's son follows him. So I was like, you must be somebody. And I freaking love Diddy's son, so.
And you didn't follow him back? Or did he follow you?
He don't follow me.
Okay, no. Mm-mm.
So I was like, but I know some people find people on the explore page. But.
I do not get hit on in my DMs. Like when I first heard about that, I was like, that's a thing.
I know.
I do have some friends where like their DMs are popping.
I feel like David's DMs are popping.
Of course, that's Zaddy. If y'all don't know who David is the Zaddy of New York City fashion world. Zaddy.
I honestly think I've even slid in his DMs. I told him, this is like way back.
What? What?
I told him.
What did you say?
I said, we are going to get married one day. I was in love with this man. This was like years ago, though.
You said that to him?
Yes, and I told him that when we were on our shoot, I was like, you know what, David? Remember that time? But he probably doesn't remember because everybody be on his page. But yeah, I told him that. I don't care. I'm straight up. No disrespect to his husband.
No. He's flattered. Give us your best date that you've had in New York City.
The best date that I had, you guys. Oh, I hope he's not watching this video. But so you guys, I started dating when New York City shut down. So like March, I started dating. And the first guy that I ever dated, it wasn't my first date, but it was my first date in the city. But we literally just met. We met in Manhattan. And he took me to like this coffee shop because you guys, at this point in March, everything was closed. So like you could walk into a store, get your food, and like walk back out, but like no outdoor dining, like none of that. So we went to this coffee shop, and he got me a warm tea, and he got whatever he got, coffee or something like that. And we walked through Central Park, and we walked for hours, and we talked the whole time, and I felt so comfortable.
They said Rona who?
Yeah, and it was so freaking Central Park was packed, but like Yeah, we walked, and then like if you're familiar with Central Park, there's like this rock area, like a statue of rocks, like right on the water, and so we like sat there and like talked for a long time, and it was just nice because I felt comfortable, and this was my first date, and I was nervous AF because I had never met someone like off the internet before, but I would say that was my best date, and then the dates following that kind of like tie into that first date because it was all just like great. But yeah, that was my best first date, or my best date in general. I haven't had many.
Oh.
I would just like to say that. So there's not like a lot to compare it to. That was a good one. What was your best date in the city?
Very similar, actually. This is why we're in this talk show together.
Yeah. Like simplicity, I don't
It's
know.
key.
Yeah. I feel like we take that for granted, but like the simplest dates can be like the most
Effective,
wonderful.
yeah. So, I used to sing in a church, like a Seventh-day Adventist church. This tall man, he was like 6'5", and y'all, I'm 6'2". I'm a biggin. In the South, we call it a biggin. I'm big. So sometimes I just want to be engulfed in my man, which hardly ever happens because I'm so big. And we were just like flirting on the bus to the event. We were just in the back in our own little world, and people were like,
he was on the back of the bus.
we were in the back. He eventually was like, hey, I want to take you out on a date. I'm one of the good guys. And I was like, let me be the judge of that. What are you talking about? So our first date, I met him at the kind of like the Lexington and like 59th area.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
It's on the east side. And we went to this Thai place, and we were just like in our own world. I think that's the best thing about dating is when you can find that connection, that chemistry, that synergy, and you are just in that world with that person and nothing else matters. It is the best feeling. When you find it, you call me because I haven't had it in a long time. But we were just in our own world, and then we left, and we literally just walked and talked and was just being in our own world, and got some coffee. Then we went to Central Park, and we found a bench on like a hill. We were just making out and just enjoying each other. I think the emphasis is we were in our own little world, and I hardly ever get to feel that because, you know, guys are afraid to be vulnerable and to be lost in that world. Or maybe not. Maybe it's the guys I was picking. But it was like, it's probably the most memorable date I had, where you just like allow the date to go where it's gonna go. You know what I mean? You're really into each other and into each other's energy, you know?
I feel like you know the date is going well when you don't want it to end. I mean, I don't know how he felt, but like I was just so excited to be with him, and that the conversation was just like flowing. Like I didn't want the date to end. Like we walked for hours, and like he walked me to the train, and I was like, in my head I was like, oh, I don't want to go.
Mm-hmm. That is a good sign. You enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, and that was like during Corona. So for us to like be in our own little bubble while like Corona was just like floating around us, like, we were definitely like playing with fire with that.
Okay, worst date.
My worst date? So this is an ongoing joke with me and my friend because I told her about the date like right after it happened. Yeah. So this was also during quarantine. Pretty much all of my dating stories are during quarantine because that's when I started dating. So yeah.
That is the best time to start dating.
I know, but like kind of like yes and no because like we were supposed to be in our homes and I was just out like frolicking in the dating world. But worst date, so it was very random. Me and this guy had been talking, but we had never like met up, and I was bored one night and I just texted him. I was like, hey, I'm about to go to the park, like do you want to meet up or whatever? And so we met at the park, and this guy was like very, very attractive, and when I met him in person, he was like 6'5", and I was like, yes.
Okay, hold on, wait, pause. Sorry to interrupt. Why do you want your man so tough? How do you climb him?
First of all, I'm not that short.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7". I'm 5'7".
No, I guess for me that's like the bitter part of me because like I can never find men that are that tall ever.
Honestly, as a woman, it's hard too because men love lying about their height. So when I met him and he was actually like tall, I was like, yes. But anyways, like when he was like putting his city bike up, like when we both got to the park, so I didn't realize he was there, and I was like walking towards the ice cream truck, And then he like called me and I was like, oh, I was just gonna go get some ice cream. But then I realized that I left my cash at my apartment, which is a no-no. You always want to have like both money and like a card because you just never know. But I left my cash at the apartment and I was like, dang, like I really wanted ice cream. So the ice cream dude heard me and he was like, oh, well, like a cone is like $4. Because the guy that I was on a date with said he had like $6 cash or whatever. So the ice cream man was like, I can give you 2 cones for $6. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like, I guess it was wrong for me to assume that he would just pay for me. But any man that I'm going to be with is going to offer to pay for what I want.
You're paying for my
just
ice
a
cream.
freaking ice cream. So I did assume, just because that's the kind of person that I am, that's what I expect from my man, I assumed that he would pay the $6 for 2 ice cream cones because we both get one. And I was like, oh, do you want to do that? Guys, this man had the nerve to say, no, because I don't want to eat my ice cream in front of you because I know that you wanted it.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Your point exactly?
I was like, are you kidding me?
He said, wait, say it one more time.
He said, no, he doesn't want to get the ice cream because he doesn't want to eat it in front of me because, like, I won't have one. So, basically, he was saying that he would buy himself the ice cream
he wasn't gonna buy
and
you
he
one.
wouldn't buy me one.
Oh, what he really said was, I don't want that deal. I want a very specific cone, and it's not that one.
No, what he really said is, I'm not paying for your ice cream. And I was like, okay, so this is definitely not going any further than this. But anyways, I was upset about that, but I just stuck out the date. But this man, and we had red flags before we even met, that he was kind of like self-centered and kind of selfish, because I'm not even gonna get into that. But I had already, like, I could tell, but I was like, I'm bored, so let's just go out anyway. So we were walking through the park or whatever. This man literally talked about himself the entire time. And I'm all for like an equal balance of like sharing things about each other, but he literally talked about himself the whole time. And then he would ask me questions, like when he was done talking, he would ask me questions about me, and then when I would go to answer, he would interrupt me and continue talking about himself. And so me, I wear my expressions and my emotions on my face, so like when he would do it, I literally like went like this and would shake my head. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. And I was like, yeah.
Was he a performer?
No. He's, I don't know. He had money, though. I think he's like some type of engineer. But, yeah, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So I, like, proceed to answer the question that he tried to ask me. And then he did it again. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go home or whatever. And the icing on the cake, like, at the end of the day, we, like, hugged. And he was like, oh, my gosh, like, let me know if you want to do this again sometime. And I was just like...
No, bye.
No. So, yeah, that was the worst date ever. Thankfully, I haven't had... Like, it was mild, but it was still just, like, annoying.
Girl, how did I meet him? It was on a dating app. I don't remember which, but it was when I was in Crown Heights. So we eventually go on a date. He worked in Soho. So I met him there. Cool. We go walking into Soho and we see this eyeglass place. So this was the type of date where we were like, we're going to figure out what we're going to do as we go. But we went into the store. I'm trying to create cute little banter. You know what I mean? I'm trying to fill out this guy to see how our vibe, how we communicate. You know, like, we should be able to make anything out of the nothings. And there's this beautiful guy that's working there who's, like, a model. And the guy I was with is somehow talking to him. And I'm like, okay, you can't just assume that he's, like, flirting with him. But then in front of me, I walk up to them, and in front of me, he asks for the guy's number. I was like... So, and at that
audacity.
time, in that time, Jermaine wore his expressions on his face. No couth, no decorum, no filter. I was just like, and he looked at me and I said, are you really going to do this in front of me right now? He was like, I'm just networking. I was like, are you kidding me? And the guy was like, I guess the guy didn't know that we were on a date.
Yeah.
So, but this is also like not passive, but just Jermaine with no like backbone. And like, I continued the date with him, but I was like holding a grudge the entire time when I should have been like, boy, bye.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally, but I was just like, dude, you literally work down the street from him. You can't just come on your time off, or you can't just be like, this ain't it, and I walk out and you just go back in and get his number. like something like just did not care. I was just like,
That's unacceptable.
I was just like, what is going on? And he tried to mask it as like networking. I was like, not in the eyeglass place. Not in the eyeglass place. Yeah, it was really bad. I was annoyed.
As you should have been.
Very tainted.
You know what? Oh my god. So I went on a date last week, and you guys, I'm not like this big like music person, but I do enjoy music. But I have a very like odd taste in music. So when I can put somebody on to music and they actually like it, that's like, huh. But I went on a date, and we were talking about music because this guy's like a singer and like artist or whatever, and he put me onto this song.
By who?
Stephen Lacey or Steve Lacey or something like that. It's called Only If, and I've literally been listening to it since we went on a date, and I'm like so obsessed with it. But I also gave him like some music that I like. I told him the Cinematic Orchestra and a Kilo, and there was one more that I forgot. And he actually liked them, and I was like, oh wow, that like actually feels so good.
I'm gonna echo that. I was recently talking to a guy. I'm a huge R&B, like 90s, 2000 R&B person, and this guy was like R&B heavy, and we were literally just like DJing for each other. So he would send me things and I would play it.
It does. It's a love language.
It is.
It's definitely a love language.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Thomasina, what are you looking for in a guy?
I have no idea. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Do you want like physical or like personality?
Just give me the rundown, but don't give me a book.
Okay, I'm not gonna give you a book. Okay, I just want a guy who listens to me. What?
No, it's just really cute.
Because men don't listen. Oh my god. You're hearing me, but you're not listening to me. Yeah. So I really want a guy who listens well and is able to articulate what they're feeling and able to communicate, because that is like one of the biggest keys to a healthy and stable relationship. I want a guy who doesn't necessarily have like he doesn't have to have it all together, because none of us have it all together, but I want someone to be about their business. I want someone to push me to go harder, and I want to be able to push him to go harder. I would like to have a man who is financially stable. I would like to have a man who's family oriented. I want someone who can be goofy and funny, because I am a hot mess. You guys, I haven't gotten to the point where I can show my full personality on YouTube yet, but like my close friends know that I be bouncing off the wall sometimes.
She's a character.
I am, and so I need a man who can handle that and can dish it back to me. I'm also super sarcastic and can be a smart aleck, so I don't want a man who's too sensitive and that I can like walk over, and like I need a man who's gonna not be afraid to put me in my place if that needed to happen. I find that I'm like submissive when it comes to relationships, so I want a man who can lead and who I can trust to lead. I feel like I'm giving you a book. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But whatever, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not asking for a lot, and I found this I think I've only found this within one guy so far. But then again, like I mentioned in the last video, I haven't dated a lot, so like I'm not speaking from like this vast experience of like dating guys. But yeah, I'll stop there. But I could go on, but I'm not going to.
I would like a guy that is in touch with his emotional intelligence. It is very important. Communication, being aware of just like your emotions and being able to articulate, like she said, how you feel. I don't expect my guy to be perfect, because we're human. We are naturally flawed, but I do expect you to be able to hold yourself accountable and to do your part to ground yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And self-care, self-love, sense of humor, just nice. You know what I mean? And I'm a very career-driven, career-oriented individual, and I've been with people that are not in it. There is like this imbalance because they want to spend so much time with you, but you are putting a lot of energy into your career, rightly so, but with a balance. But it's easier when you have two people that are just career oriented. You can just work around each other. So that, and
I agree.
just someone that just is a lover, basically. Like, in short, because you can delve into those things, but those are the main things. And I am not settling for a man until I get those things.
Period. The moment that you settle with a partner, I feel like you're going to resent this person because ultimately they're not what you want. So yeah, don't settle. Do you think there are like hot spots in the city to meet singles?
I don't think there's a hot spot unless there are events curated specifically for dating or meeting single people. But like events, when the world is open, like events, bars, it's possible. But do I know specifics? No, I don't. Do you?
I don't know specifics because again, like I'm a newbie, but I found on TikTok, like my For You page is super like New York vibes, and there are a couple of girls on there who give like tips on hotspots where to meet like wealthy guys, hotspots where to meet like celebrity type influencer guys in the city.
Wow,
and so I just
really?
yeah, they have them and they're like super specific, like specific places, and so I just figured I would ask that. I think for me, I've only experienced the city, like besides when I was younger because I lived here, but like recently I've only experienced the city like during like Corona, and so I haven't had the opportunity to find where the singles are, but I would definitely say in like the spring and the summer, the parks is where it's at. So many attractive people. Now, I don't know whether or not they're single, but a lot of attractive people, and if you are the type to like just go out and like go approach someone like, hey, I find you attractive, blah blah blah.
Okay, do you actually do that?
Heck no.
Right.
You guys, I'm not comfortable enough in that space, in this setting, to do that because I just fear rejection, and I don't know whether or not you're single. And I know it just takes, all you have to do is ask, but I just don't want to like step on anybody's toes. And I feel like everybody's in a relationship these days, so I just steer clear of that.
I mean, yes. There's also nothing wrong with being in an open relationship and you're able to mingle, because a lot of people have those set boundaries. She's saying for her, it's not it. But like I've noticed that there are also a lot of spaces where you'll see a lot of attractive people and like the majority are in a relationship.
Yes, and open. Okay, this is what they say. They say they're in ethically non-monogamous relationships. That is the term that people use these days. And I did not hear that phrase so often until I moved up here. Like, I had one guy that I met. Well, I didn't meet him, but I connected with him via Tinder. And we exchanged numbers and everything. And he didn't tell me until afterwards, after we had been talking, that he was in a relationship. And he was in an ethically non-monogamous relationship, which, I mean, if that's your thing, do you, but it is not mine.
And that's where I'm like, can you just let me know?
Ahead of time, before I give you my number. And we were clicking so well, and so I was so mad.
And that's how it works. Like, the ones that are unavailable are the
best ones, and that's why they're unavailable. But I did question him about that whole ethically non-monogamous thing, because I am selfish when it comes to my partner, and I am not sharing. And I just don't understand, if you find someone that you like enough to call yourself being in a relationship with this person, what is the purpose of seeking out other people? And I'm not saying this to like degrade anyone who is in this situation. I just genuinely don't understand it. So me and him, we did have a conversation about it, and he was kind of like, this is the person who I enjoy spending my time with the most. This is the person who makes me happiest. But we've come to the conclusion that we would not be upset if we were to venture outside of the relationship. And so we figure, instead of cheating on one another, let's set the boundary that, okay, it's acceptable for you to go do this person, and it's acceptable for me to go do the other. But then we come back together, and it's still like a loving, stable relationship. And I'm like, okay, that works for you, but I'm probably never going to talk to you again. That's great.
I've actually been in an open relationship. It was towards the end of the relationship, but it was for more physical reasons. Once I did it myself, because I never thought that I would, it just kind of showed me that it's possible to just be into, fall in love, to genuinely care for more than one person. And we're not all wired the same way, but it is possible. But it's okay to be like, that's not for me and I don't understand it. And that's it. You know what I mean? But even just to do that, you have to be in a very comfortable, safe space to have those conversations with your partner, you know?
And that's why I say communication is key. What
Yeah.
I've learned, like from the short time that I have spent dating, is that a lot of people are afraid to say how they really feel for the sake of like hurting someone's feelings. And at least for me, I would rather you tell me straight up how you feel than me find out later through some other source or like through something else. I'm gonna be more hurt then that you didn't like straight up tell me. Not even more so hurt, I'm gonna be irritated because you just wasted my time. And like I said in the video, like time is our greatest asset. So I'd rather you tell me straight up what your intentions are than like BS. And that's another thing, like when utilizing dating apps and stuff in the city, for some reason men hate when you ask, you know, or people in general hate when you ask, well, what are you looking for? But that's a legitimate question. What are you looking for? Because if I ask you what you're looking for, you just say hook up, I'm like, okay, have a great day, and move on to the next. Like, what are we
communication.
What are we talking for if you want one thing and I want another? We're just wasting each other's time.
Yeah.
Don't do
They
that.
just think you're so beautiful, Thomasina.
Do you have any tips for anyone who may be frustrated with the dating scene in New York?
Yes. Don't take it too seriously. When you are dating people, you are also encountering their baggage, their history, how they process, and how they're handling things has nothing to do with you. So just water off a duck's back. Water off a duck's back. Don't go in with any expectations. If it doesn't work, it's okay. It's okay for it to not go the way you want it to go. That's okay. You know what I mean? But just don't take it too seriously and don't identify with it too much, because when you cling on to it or you have these expectations and everything has to meet up to that, and 9 times out of 10 it's probably not going to be met, then that's when you're upset and you're frustrated or for whatever reason. But when you just look at it as like, it's just part of the process. It's probably, if there's a good chance it might not work out, there's a good chance it might. You just go with the flow. You're like, okay, cool, that ain't it, you know?
I wish someone had told me that when I first started dating, because I'm a super serious person.
You
like,
are not serious.
I'm dead serious about everything. I take, you know what? I'm sorry, I keep talking about the dating apps, but like all the guys on their dating apps be like, oh, I want someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously. Literally every single dating profile, every man on these apps says, oh, don't take yourself too seriously. And I, for one, take myself very seriously.
Seriously, can you just elaborate on that?
Like, yeah, I can be goofy or whatever, but like, no. If I'm feeling some type of way, I'm gonna tell you like straight up. If there's something that I want, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Like, I'm not on these apps just like lollygagging. Like, I'm actually interested in finding like a serious relationship. So yeah, I do take myself seriously. I'm not a joke. I don't take myself as a joke. You shouldn't take yourself as a joke. Like, this is not a joking matter. But I would say that I wish someone had told me that, because I did get into it like thinking too deep into it. But I'm thankful that my first ever dating experience, the guy that I was seeing was super receptive and understanding to the fact that I was very inexperienced, and he pretty much like held my hand throughout the entire like time that we were dating. And I'm so thankful for that experience, because had it been with anyone else, they probably would have been like, oh, this chick is crazy, like what? And not that I was doing anything to like be perceived as crazy, but I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of like misconceptions about what it meant to be dating someone, and I needed to be guided through it. And I think because my first dating experience was with him, I was able to not take it as seriously, like you were saying. I was kind of just like going with the flow and allowing us to just like be us. And I think the fact that we developed our relationship during a pandemic helped that as well, because, you know, like we weren't going out, we weren't actively seeing and meeting other people, so like it was kind of just us for a while. And I think that made the experience like a lot better, and it was like helpful. So yeah. I think that was good advice.
Yeah, it's okay. And if you are watching this video and you happen to be like 21, 22, 29, 42, 72, and you feel like you are at a place where you are able to enjoy dating or whatever the case may be, I don't think it's ever too late to get to the point where you're like, it's okay, it's whatever. You know what I mean? The funny thing is, testimony. when I broke up with my ex this past December, I started dating again. And for some reason, I told myself, I said, okay, I'm going to try this dating thing again, but and I was in therapy as well, I'm going to try to have great experiences or look for the great experiences or attract the great experiences. I just had so many good experiences, and they weren't lasting, but they were just great encounters. And I was like, wow, that's refreshing. And it's only meant to be, it was only meant to last like a day or two or a week or however long. And my therapist was like, so like, feed off of that and know that you deserve that and you can have more of that, and eventually like you're gonna get to that person that gives you that, you know what I mean?
Exactly, long term.
Yeah. So
I think it's all about like perspective. Like your mind is very powerful, and literally as you think, so you become. And there's this podcast called Single Smart Female, and I believe the women who run it are from New York as well. But they do this thing called mantourage dating, and it's basically like where you don't focus your attention like just on one man, but you basically have an entourage of men that you're dating at the same time, and you're not necessarily dating with the intention of I'm gonna marry one of these guys. You're dating literally just to have fun. And they were saying that it is one of the most liberating and fun, freeing experiences ever. And they like train women to do it. They're like dating coaches, I think, but they train women to do it, and all the women can testify like, oh, this is the most amazing experience. I personally haven't developed the capacity to date more than one man at a time, but going back to what Jay was saying is that if you think, like if you have this mentality that, oh, dating is so hard, dating is frustrating, oh, I can't even tolerate these men, like, or whatever you're dating, that is what your dating experience is going to be. But if you go in saying like, oh my gosh, this is fun, like I love meeting new people, I love learning about new people, I love this and this about this person, you're going to have a more positive experience. And I think that that's what I've been working on doing. So I've been enjoying dating more often. Like I went on a date, like before I would have never gone on a date with a guy who didn't live in the city in which I live, because I'm like, oh, what's the point? Like we can't get married because you don't even live here. Like that's not gonna work. But I went on a date with a guy who doesn't live in New York, and it was a great experience, and like it was just fun, and like I'm glad I did it. And then there was another instance where I love when you can go on a date and like the date goes well, like you guys are hitting it off, like it's great, but like this is not the one, like this isn't going to continue. So I went on a date with a guy, and like it was fantastic or whatever, but we never spoke to each other again. And it was like a mutual agreement that, okay, we are not for one another, but this was a great date. And when you do that, like you're just going like to have fun. There's no like serious intention behind it. Like, oh, we're going on this date, like we have to be in a relationship now.
I feel like the more you just enjoy yourself, you're good by being by yourself. Not saying you're gonna be by yourself forever. The more attractive you become, I feel like that's when you are able to not take the dating scene and life too seriously, because you're like, look, I'm good whether I got you or not. Mm-hmm. I got me. I know I got me. I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like being okay with being by yourself, basically.
Date yourself first.
Child, get to know thyself. Okay.
What do you think makes it hard to date, like in this decade, this time? What makes it hard?
Technology. For sure. I think technology is amazing, but there's also like this microwave kind of concept of like things being cooked quickly, if that makes sense.
Oh my god, it makes 100% a lot of sense.
Like the fact that like I think dating apps are amazing, but it's also like I miss meeting people in person and being attracted to that person and them seeing me and like that spark initiating the conversation. Like a lot of the times it happens through apps, and I'm like, dang, whatever. In New York City, because there are so many people in one city. There's so many people here. And I feel like, at least for the gay guys, you know that there are at least 30 men around the corner. So if this don't work out, you blink wrong, he blinks right, and I'm going over there. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little, like, actually being on the dating apps, there are times where I'm actually overwhelmed because there's just so many guys, and I'm like, how do you pick? Like, what do you do?
You know what? I wish I felt that way, but I'm so picky that my pool is small AF. And one thing that's frustrating to me about dating, especially like dating in New York, or you say that one thing that makes it difficult to date in general is social media and the apps. And I agree 100% because we've become like socially awkward.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly, to where it's difficult to approach people in person. So people will literally see you in real life and not say anything to you and then wait to get home on Instagram like, oh, I saw you today. Oh, I saw you at this party.
Wait, can we talk about this though? Can we talk about it?
Let's.
Okay, I've done that before.
Me too.
I'm gonna right. I'm gonna explain why I did it, and I'm not saying like this is why I did it. I'm actually fine. I can go up to a guy and talk to him, but like I can. But I saw him in person, but I also saw him on the app, and I wanted to go and talk to him, but he was also one with a group of people, and they were like hanging really tight, and I've never had to do that, so I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. But two, part of me was just like, he's like, have all this conversation, blah blah blah, and I was like, I don't know what type of guy he wants. I was like, I feel like he probably wants like a hyper masculine guy, and like that's just not my thing, but I'm a good lover or whatever. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'm not his type. And my approach was a bit more on the let me just slide in kind of to see. And I messaged him and I was like, you are so beautiful. I wanted to come and say something to you, but I didn't know if I was your type. And he never really answered, but he was really sweet and like just kept talking to me.
He never answered if you were.
If I were, yeah, he never answered if I was his type, but he was talking to me. But I was just like, why can I not just go up and talk to this guy? And I feel like I should have. And I think the moral of that story is I didn't want to be rejected.
And I think like for me, I said that with an attitude like, oh, people will see you out in public but won't say anything, even though I do that. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing or like a fear of rejection thing or like a combination of both, but I personally find it difficult to approach men in public. So what I'll do, I'll just like look at you and like give you that eye to let you know that I'm interested, and then you can take it from there. And I feel like a lot of women do that, but now that we're all wearing masks, I feel like it's very difficult to do that because like I would like give you the eye and like smile at you a little bit to like let you know, and now I can't do that. I wish that I could be the type of girl to like just approach a guy because I know that men love that, and I think that I would have a lot more success in the dating field like outside of the apps and outside of Instagram if I did that, because men will not do it to me. And that's one thing like I found like in the city, at least men that I would be interested in do not approach me. And I can assume that part of it is because I have a really mean face in person. Like if you see me in person, I look really, really mean
like
and
from
guarded.
afar.
Or you could be up close.
I don't know. Like when I first I met Thomasina on a photo shoot set. Is that what it's called? Yes, a set. You didn't, but granted, because we were working together, but you didn't seem
Yeah,
like...
I was trying to be nice. Like, overly nice.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. Because, you know, it was my first time meeting you guys, and, like, I didn't want to... I've been told... So it was something that I was actively, like, trying to be nice. Yeah, because I've been told so many times, like, oh, my God, I was scared of you when I first met you, or, oh, I thought you were a B, like, when I first met you. I get that so often.
I mean, but to be fair, like, even if you did come off that way, I would have easily been like, let me make her laugh, because she needed to.
But that's your personality.
Yeah,
and everybody doesn't do that. So, like, when it comes to men, I feel like, at least the men that I'm interested in, the men that I'm attracted to, if you know me, you know my type, those kinds of men just won't approach me. And so I feel like the dating apps have been helpful in that sense because it gives people more of a courage to like reach out, but it's also more hurtful because they're relying so much on the dating apps and like connecting virtually first rather than in person that it makes people more reluctant to approach people in person. And for me, in my ultimate like dream love story, my man would approach me in person. I don't want to say that I met my husband on a dating app, but if that happens, you know, whatever. I just want a man to approach a man that I'm attracted to,
right? Because
I be having men approach me, but I'm not interested. If I could have a man that I'm actually interested in approach me, like you already gain like 200 points in my book if you approach me because I know how I come off. So if you have the confidence and the balls to like approach me in person, that's like you went to the top of my page. I definitely think social media has made it difficult and like has made us like socially awkward. But it's definitely useful in a pandemic.
For sure. The remote dating is it right now.
But the Zoom dates are cute. If you got, I've never done one, but like I've seen people do it on like TikTok and stuff.
Look, I'm looking for a man that I can meet online and he wants to take me out on a date, but it's virtually, and he buys me food and sends it through Uber Eats and I can pick it up and we have a date over Zoom watching a movie. Where are you at?
Hit the comments section
Okay.
if you're interested.
All right.
And doing that for Jay, because I'm not interested.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Wear your mask. Wear your mask.
If you're single, the parks are great places to meet other singles. There's gonna be some really handsome, like Pier 26.
The piers.
Oh my gosh, the eye candy there.
Yeah, the men running over there.
Oh my gosh. Love it. Oh, wait, guys, let me give you guys another plug. So I am known for like talking about like the differences between men and women and relationships and whatnot on my Instagram. And I also read a lot. And I posted about this book, How to Date Men When You Hate Men. And the author is from New York. I actually didn't even know that she was from New York until after I read the book and then I read like the author's description. I was like, wow, this makes so much sense now. This is why I related so strongly to the book. But I highly recommend you guys read that book because literally I related so hard, and I'm a newbie to this dating thing, so it was very like refreshing to feel like I wasn't like the only one. Another great book about dating is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Both books are like more so for like heterosexual, cisgendered people, cisgendered identifying people. But they were really, really good and really insightful on like the differences between men and women and why we do the things that we do. So that was just like a quick plug on books.
Oh, I have 2 questions. Okay. Give me a short story, not a book.
I love books.
Do you think you'll find love on a dating app?
I think it's possible. I don't know if I will, but I definitely think it's possible. Like the first guy that I dated, it was so good in that time that I definitely think it's possible. And like I said, I have friends who are in long-term relationships with people that they met off Tinder. So I think it's possible, but I don't know.
I'm going to second that, but I'm going to add a second question. Do I want to find love on an app? Realistically, no. I want to do it in person because I love that encounter. Quick story. In my last apartment, I was on my roof learning Beyonce choreography, and the guy on the next roof, who I actually tried to talk to on a dating app, I guess he just didn't see it. He was tanning naked. And
Butt naked?
Butt naked. And literally like interrupted my dancing session. He was like, so how's the choreography going?
He's talking to you butt naked?
No, he put some clothes on.
Oh.
I mean, if he wanted to, he could. But he was like, so how is it going? And I was like, got him. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hard. No, I was like, I'm sweating so much. No, but.
Ew,
but we just like started talking, and we could feel the connection immediately, and we were like, we're gonna just take the risk. We literally just stayed up there from like 3 p.m. till like 11 p.m.
Wow,
and we danced. That. We literally just stayed
Y'all
up there.
was on separate roofs?
We eventually got on the same roof because we were like, this is gonna probably become a thing. Quarantine, buddy.
New York, just hopping from roof to roof.
Right, literally.
How you do it in New York.
And we just like got on the pillars and like danced on the roof under the moon. It was amazing. And it wasn't through an app. And I was like, this is possible. It's possible. And that's what I want. It feels so organic and authentic and like, it was like a fairy tale.
I would love that. Men, step your game up. Do not be afraid to approach. Like,
yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be rejected. It's okay if she's not into you. It's okay if you're not into her when you meet her. But just that in-person encounter it's beautiful. My second and last question is, this is a good one. And I want you to be as vulnerable and authentic as possible. Okay. If you could say anything to the person you'll end up with, what would you say?
Jesus be offensive. No, honestly, good luck.
Okay, seriously.
Ew, this is so
No,
cheap.
do it.
This is not not me at all. Like, I am a hopeless romantic, but this literally
You're like
gives me...
a secret hopeless romantic.
This gives me the heebie-jeebies, but...
Gives you high.
Ew. I would say, I hope you're ready for the ride, because you're going to have the time of your life. And it's going to be fantastic.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I would say I'm here, I'm ready when you're ready, and I'm working on myself so we can have a good time, and I hope you're working on yourself.
I love it.
No pressure, no rush. When it's time, I'll be here and let's have the time of our lives.
Woo!
Okay? Because we are living through a pandemic and I ain't got time for anything else but a good time. Okay?
Period, poo.
Literally, I don't have time for anything else.
I think that me starting to date in this pandemic has really taught me to just go with the flow and have fun. And that speaks to Jay's point of like dating with the intention of just having fun, because life is too short. And I think that living through this experience, especially here in New York where we were like the center of COVID for a while, just really taught me to just like let loose. And it's okay to like be vulnerable, and it's okay to like feel uncomfortable sometimes, and it's okay to like have your heart broken a little bit. But you just gotta bounce back from it and realize that it's not the end of the world. And yeah, just have fun and go with the flow. And I think that that's the space that I'm in right now. And I'm really happy in this space. And yeah.
I think that's a wrap, y'all.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Know that you are not alone in this dating world. And don't be afraid to talk about it. We're all going through it. Yeah. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
'Cause I'm not just a pretty girl.